you seen? Did you ever see the Michael Bay Ninja Turtle movies?
No, never saw that.
They weren't good.
Michael Bay produced one. We watched the first.
We watched the first one and it was okay. The best
Wasn't
one
as
was on
bad
the
as
other.
we
No,
thought.
it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it also wasn't what I wanted. I mean, it's not the kind of Ninja Turtle movie I want. They were giant monsters.
And the problem with Ninja Turtle, the first direction they went with it was, first of all, they looked like giant beasties, obviously, and they didn't look like ninjas or turtles.
No.
And
all that crap.
And they rebooted the origins and all that kind of stuff and made it way complicated. Mm-hmm. And my whole thing is like, that's so unnecessary. We know who the Ninja Turtles are. Mm-hmm. You know, we're all familiar with the characters. We know what they do. So why isn't there a movie where they're just being the Ninja Turtles?
Like Dread.
Kind of like Dread.
Yeah.
So, I actually have an idea for a Ninja Turtles movie. If you'd like to hear it.
Sure. I guess that's what we're filming this week.
Yeah, so, good point. It would be more contained,
mm-hmm.
kind of like Dread or The Raid, but, and it would just be about the turtles being the turtles, kind of like in this situation, everything that we know and love about them and all that kind of thing. But it would, so here's how it would start. New York City, at night, one night, and so you see the sweeping shot around the city, and you see that it starts getting attacked in all around. The Foot Clan, Shredder's Foot Clan, are attacking the city in like full force, bigger than they ever have before. And amidst the chaos, you would see the turtles doing all they can to help people stop the ninjas, contain whatever they can, along with Casey Jones, who, you know, I'd have kind of a small section of the action where you see Raph and Casey kind of in an alleyway taking on foot ninjas by themselves to kind of get that relationship, just for a little bit. So, but while all that's going on, you see that Shredder has orchestrated all this to get down to the Turtles' hideout and confront Master Splinter for the last time. Because it's like, this is, you know, I'm kind of done with all this, so he's going to take out Master Splinter. So as much as the Ninja Turtles can do up top, finally they come back to the hideout where they find April holding Master Splinter, either in a serious coma or dead. Depending on, because the idea of the movie would be kind of a standalone adventure. It's not setting up a franchise or anything like that. So kind of in that regard, I kind of like the finality of Master Splinter being dead, especially going forward, because the Turtles would now have to think, you know, we've never been attacked like this. Obviously, Master Splinter's dead, and, you know, just the enormity of it all. And it's such a big deal, and for the first time, they have to make a decision without Master Splinter, you know, without his input. So it's really Leo, you know, and all that who has to step up and kind of be like, what are we going to do?
Of course, Raph's not going to.
Well, yeah, and also, Casey gets injured as well. Not fatally, but he's in the hospital, so he's no good anymore, necessarily. And so all this is, which of course rubs Raph the wrong way, who goes off afterwards doing something that we don't know. Meanwhile, oh no. Eventually Raph would come back to the hideout with a Foot Clan ninja that he's grabbed and kind of taken as prisoner to get information out of, which usually, you know, he's kind of expecting Leo to be like, you know, well, this is, you know, what do you, but that's not really an issue right now. They're kind of like, okay, I kind of want this information just as much as you are. And they find out that Shredder has gone to Japan, where he has this fortress in the mountains. So it's on top of this mountain, there's this big fortress that's surrounded by a big wall. That's kind of been in his family for years, all this kind of history or whatever, but he's kind of built it as his, evil place. So that's where he's holed up. Basically, waiting for the turtles. It kind of seems like this is obviously a trap, but at the same time, I want to end Shredder too. So for once, they're all kind of on the same page. Leo, Raph, everybody else is just like one track mind of just like, yeah, let's go get Shredder because this is, and it's only April who eventually takes Leo aside and says, I know you guys are all in on this right now, but at some point you guys are going to have to talk about, what does ending Shredder actually mean, and Leo's kind of like, we'll get to that bridge when we get to it, So they go off to Japan. Hence starts the raid type thing, because the rest of the movie is basically the four ninjas taking on this fortress to get to Shredder, who's at the top of the mountain. And the idea of it would be each turtle would have its kind of big moment where they kind of showcase who they are and kind of the thing you want to see them doing, because that's what this movie's all about, just the turtles being awesome. And so for like Leo, I'm thinking, it's surrounded by a wall, right? And so he'd kind of drop in all silent like, and you'd have this one shot following Leo around this wall just taking out dudes without anybody even noticing. Think like Captain America Winter Soldier when he's taking out dudes on the boat, but quieter.
But filmed like of the staircase.
Yeah, but filmed like the staircase and the protector, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just him, doing it quiet like, and we follow him the whole way. Bebop and Rocksteady, of course, would be there.
Is this animated?
It's a good question. Here's how I do that. You're familiar with the Adventures of Tintin and Beowulf?
Mm-hmm.
The performance capture type animation.
Avatar?
Yeah, similar to Avatar. That's kind of bigger level, but yeah. I'd want to do it like that because the thing about the old movies with them in the suits where they got the characters right and like the story and all that, but you couldn't really get the ninja action out of those suits. It couldn't happen. And TMNT was really good, but even then the story was kind of silly with all the monsters and everything like that. So what I think would be cool is if you animated the world around the turtles where they fit in just as much as everybody else. And also you'd be able to do shots like that where, because there's, if you haven't seen Tintin, there's this amazing chase through this city that's all one tracking shot. That of course wasn't because it's computer, but it seemed like that, which may just heighten the whole experience and kind of opened up a lot of possibilities for action sequences when it comes to a lot of that stuff. And as the other advantage of that would be just casting the turtles, what I would want to do is cast an actor and a martial artist for each turtle. So that way you wouldn't have to worry about like, oh, I need an actor and then train him or whatever and then potentially run into the Iron Fist situation. Or get a martial artist or whatever who isn't the strongest actor, whatever. So I want the actor and the martial artist to kind of work together to create one turtle. So in the motion capture, you wouldn't tell when one changed to the other because they're all playing the same character, but the skills are top notch all the way through.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's how I would do that. And then that way you have more control of the visuals, and I'd want it to be very, very cool looking, kind of Samurai Jack-ish, like when I get to the final battle, I kind of explain that. But anyway, so that's
Okay.
That's my idea for that.
Sorry for that.
Yeah, no problem. So anyway, Bebop and Rocksteady are there because I want them to be there, and they would contribute to Raphael's moment, which would be a one-on-one fight with Bebop. So, and it's like no size, no weapons, just a straight up, almost like, because Bebop would be straight up boxing.
Yeah.
And Raph would be kind of doing the same thing, but with his martial arts skills mixed in.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be two dudes just kind of straight up fisticuffs. And he would, of course, win, but it wouldn't necessarily be
an easy one.
Yeah, exactly. On the other side of that, Rocksteady, the rhinoceros, he's a bit bigger, so you kind of have Mikey and Donatello working together to take him down. Think the raid, the fight at the end of that with the three dudes just beating the crap out of each other.
Yeah.
So again, not an easy takedown, but it really, you kind of get the sense, at least I do, that Mikey and Donatello are kind of closer to each other than anybody. Mm-hmm. So it'd kind of be interesting to see them fight together, almost like Logan and X-23, where they're kind of working off of one each other, and all that kind
Captain
of
America, Winter Soldier.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be, but those wouldn't necessarily be Mikey and Donatello's moments. Mikey's would come with a chase scene through kind of the barracks village of the fortress where all the ninjas and stuff, where he kind of stumbles upon it and realizes that this is where the ninjas are kept. So you'd still have the humor in there.
Yeah.
And so it'd be kind of like a mix between Aladdin and the chase scene from Ong Bak, where he's kind of just going like under cars through, parkour style. So it's more his agility.
What do you have his skateboard?
Eventually he might grab something that he would use as a skateboard, to kind of slide off the stuff and all that kind of thing. But also at the same time, while he's doing that, he's also taking out ninjas when he can, when big threats is and all that kind of stuff. And it would have some sort of hilarious conclusion. So that would be Mikey's thing, which would be a lot of fun. Donatello's comes later in the movie, but eventually, so as they're getting up the mountain, they're getting closer and closer, and kind of they finally have kind of a moment after all that kind of stuff where they're kind of weakened and whatever, where they're talking about, okay, the next step is Shredder, and Leo kind of brings up like, okay, so what do we mean when we said, we're gonna, and Raph just says straight up, I know what I meant, we're gonna kill him, that's what I came here for, we're gonna, and so the conversation has to come up of like, was that what Master... And that would be another reason why I kind of want Master Splinter to be dead. Because there really wouldn't be... we can't ask him later.
Yeah.
We can't apologize, It's kind of like,
their
we have to...
decision without their mentor.
Yeah, and it's kind of a big one, Like, they have every reason to do it. But would Master Splinter ever... Like, they have to think of everything that they thought of. It kind of led them to this moment. And Donatello, of course, would be against it. And Mikey would just kind of be waiting for everyone else to figure it out. Because it's not like he's going to do the killing blow anyway, But Leo's kind of struggling with it too. So it kind of becomes unresolved because Raph kind of gets fed up with the conversation. Just like, well, I'm going after him. So, and then he runs off. What choice do they have? So eventually they get to this big old house that Shredder's, been in. And he comes down full, arm basically waiting for the turtles. And at this time it's dark and it's raining and it's lightning and stuff out. So then you get the visuals. That would be really cool, very dark. And if I could do it in a kind of an uncheesy way to have the lightning somehow set the house on fire, because I have this awesome image of the final fight, it would be the four of them, and it would only be lit by the fire in the background
That's
and
cool,
the lightning.
yeah. I think you could do that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So, and there'd only really be kind of flashes where you'd see a good shot of the action going on, but of course you'd see up close too. So then this awesome fight would happen, where they're all, weapons out and everything, basically because, he's bringing blades and stuff out, so, and, this is what we brought. So they're all fighting and taking, he's kind of, they went through all this stuff, they just took on a fortress, so they're not really at their best. And Shredder has been up there kind of pumping or whatever, waiting for these dudes. So he kind of bests them a little bit, but they still, at the end, Raph, and after all this, Raph is able to get him down on the ground. And the turtles and their weapons are kind of spread out, and Leo's kind of far away and sees the situation, and Raph is right next to one of his size. So this would be his time to kill Shredder, and Leo would really have nothing, no way to do it. And Mikey would be, somewhere in a bush or something like that. And Donnie would be also kind of by where Shredder is. And so Raph takes this opportunity, grabs a sign, and about to stab Shredder through the throat or whatever. And that's when Donatello reaches his hand out to stop him. And freaking penetrates his hand. And he's just like, trying to stop him. And Raph's kind of shocked, but he's still determined to kill this dude. And kind of like, what are you doing? And that's where Donatello moment comes, because he's the heart of the group. So he kind of looks at Raph and says, we're not killers. You're not a killer, And so he kind of stops him, and Raph eventually is, and that's when Leo walks up, and they kind of tie up Shredder and all this kind of stuff and decide they're going to take care of, put him somewhere deep and dark and all that kind of stuff where he'll never, but, they can't. They couldn't take his life. Because that's, but they don't think that's, they didn't want that to be the first act after Master Splinter died, because that's a life for a life. Yeah. And that's kind of against what they do. So they'd come back and, Casey would be better, and they'd kind of tell April what happened, and she'd be proud of him and all that kind of stuff. And Leo and at that point, Splinter's dead, so of course you'd have the funeral, but not only that, the brothers would kind of be like, in a way, this was kind of our final test, and we kind of passed it. And I think that's why, another reason why it would be a good standalone movie, because where do you really want to go from there?
It'd just be another Turtles movie.
Yeah, just be another Turtles movie. And I think that would encompass everything that I'd want to see out of a Turtles movie, and if I just had that, I'd be like, I'd love to watch a Ninja Turtle. You know what, let's pop in. I'd want to call it just Ninja Turtles. Because the Michael Bay movies kind of emphasize the Teenage Mutant part. So this one would just be, they're turtles. There's no denying that.
And this is them growing up, so they're no longer teenagers.
Yeah, they're no teenagers anymore. They're ninjas, that kind of thing. So that's how I would do a Ninja Turtle movie.
I'd like to see that movie.
Yeah. I have the cast too, at least for the 4 turtles.
Okay. That
I want for the acting roles. For Leo, Emil Hirsch, if you're familiar, he played Speed Racer in Speed Racer.
Okay.
That's probably where you're most familiar. I don't know if you've seen
Into
Lone
the Wild.
Survivor.
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Into the Wild, he was also in.
Yeah, I'm not.
He has a good leadership quality,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of, he has seriousness, but he also has kind of a softness to him too, that I think Leo would be really, especially in this, because it's more contemplative Leo, and trying to get in touch with him, and he can also be intense.
Yeah.
So I think he'd be good. For Raph, his name is Alexander Ludwig. You'd know him as Kato from The Hunger Games. He was also in Vikings.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
You recall? Because he's a tough dude, and he can do intense as well. But what I really liked, and I know a lot of people don't like it in Hunger Games, but I really actually liked Kato's speech at the end, because there was kind of that realization of what he was, and so I think that would be that kind of quality would be good in Wrath. Again, especially for this story. For Donatello, I'd want Stephen Yin of Walking Dead, Glenn, because he was the heart of Walking Dead, and he's a smart dude.
Yeah, he's charming. He makes you care.
Yeah, exactly. I think he'd be really, because he would be the one that has to talk Rick out of stuff. You know? And for Michelangelo, I'd want Donald Glover.
I think that's good. I like that a lot.
Because he's got the charisma and the charm, and he's also, because what I'd actually want, because I do want it to be humorous. Well, what I want it to be humorous, but of course it's in a serious kind of movie where he's growing up. So I'd almost want Troy from Community plus Childish Gambino a little bit, where like this, because he gets really deep with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So he can go there.
Yeah.
So I think that would be interesting, especially with Mikey kind of growing up like in a situation where it's not as fun being a ninja because there's big questions being asked and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I like it.
I haven't decided on April and them yet. But yeah, so that's how I would do it.
I like it.